Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside the gymnasium at Burncoat High School in Worcester, Massachusetts, as Milford TV is happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. This is Tim Coet on the call as we begin coverage of the 2018 MIAA playoff tournament, and an excellent matchup here tonight as your number 9 seeded Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks travel to the city of Worcester to take on the number 8 seed in the Division II Central bracket, the Burncoat Lady Patriots. So Milford, we have not had an opportunity to cover this girls team over the final stretch of the season with a lot of road games to close out the year. The last time we had full coverage of this girls team was all the way back at the end of the month of January, back on January the 30th, and what ultimately was a 53-40 loss for Milford against the Mansfield Lady Hornets. And that ended up touching off a bit of a tough stretch to finish up the season for this Lady Scarlet Hawks team. 4 losses in the final 6 games of the regular season for Milford, and that ended up finishing off the regular season with Milford at an overall mark of 12-8 on the year. They finished up at an even 800 within league play, 8-8 overall on the season. So that was good for 3rd place in the Davenport Division standings. Milford holding on to 2nd place through the majority of the season, but Stoughton with a nice late push, and of course earning a victory over Milford in those late days of the season. And that allowed Stoughton to leapfrog over Milford, both teams finishing up with 12-8 records, but Stoughton edging out Milford in league play with a 10-6 record versus Milford's 8-8. So that allowed Milford to ultimately claim the number 9 seed in the playoffs, and setting up a very intriguing matchup here tonight. It's a 9 seed versus an 8 seed, so always a very competitive game in any bracket format. So we're excited to see how these teams are able to handle themselves on the floor here tonight. And again, that tough stretch at the end of the season for Milford was in part due to some nagging injuries down the stretch. The good news for this team is they are fully healthy and fully ready to go here tonight, as you see the captains starting to meet at midcourt as we get close to game time here tonight. But Milford suffered a series of injuries late in the season. We remember the scariest of them all back in that loss to Mansfield. Kate Irwin going down hard on the court, hitting her head. She ended up missing a couple of games after that. Juliana Tracy also suffering injuries. A couple of players in and out of the lineup down that final stretch. So a lack of personnel available for Coach Dolliver ended up resulting in that sluggish finish. Again, just 2 wins over the final 6 games of the regular season for Milford, but they were able to rebound in that season finale game with one of their highest point totals of the season, 62 points for Milford in a 62-55 victory over the Sharon Lady Eagles on senior night. That was all the way back on February the 16th, so it has been 11 days since Milford has seen game action. So we will see if there is any rust for this Milford team early on, but also happy to have the rest to be able to get their personnel fully healthy for this game here tonight. Meanwhile, the opponent for Milford here, the Burncoat High School Lady Patriots. Burncoat playing out of the Inter-High League, which is made up of 3 other high schools from around the Worcester area. Burncoat ended up finishing off the regular season with a 13-7 record, so 1 more win overall on the season than Milford, 13-7, though they did finish in 3rd place out of the 4 teams in the Inter-High League due to a 3-3 record amongst league competition. Doherty ended up taking the division title despite a 9-11 overall record. They went 5-1 within league play. But Doherty has been a strong team this season. They've done it largely with defense, a very good defensive team, allowing on average just 37.1 points per game. So they've been holding their opponents to under 40 points on average throughout the regular season, scoring a bit lower than Milford's average output. Burncoat averaging 42.5 points per game. Milford about 6 points higher on a per game average, so the offense is similar. Milford with a bit of an edge there, Burncoat with a bit of an edge defensively. So we'll see how that ends up playing out as this game progresses here tonight. And these teams also similar as they have their offense flowing through 1 predominant scorer. For Milford, of course, we know who that is, the 1,000-point scorer, Kate Irwin. And for this Burncoat team, it is Mare Gallagher, the senior captain, who is their top scorer. She has been averaging a Central Massachusetts best 23.5 points per game. Mare Gallagher also earned her spot in the 1,000-point scorers club earlier this season. She actually did it 1 day prior to Kate Irwin reaching the milestone against Norwood, with Gallagher doing it on January the 24th. Kate Irwin earning her 1,000th point on January 25th. Burncoat also features a solid number 2 option to Gallagher, with Katie Pasquale averaging 8.6 points per game. And she also is very strong on the defensive end of the floor as well. She averages 5 steals per game. So this team as a whole, very good defensively. They also have some particular very tough defensive matchups for Milford to be aware of as the night progresses here tonight. So very excited to get this game going, and of course, we're happy to once again be bringing you live streaming coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics here in the playoffs, and very happy to be welcomed into the gymnasium here at Burncoat High School. We have to thank the very good staff here at Burncoat for allowing us to come in with our broadcast setup here for Milford TV, and very fortunate to get this game underway as the first game about to take place in the Division II Central bracket, a very tough bracket. The winner of this game will move on to play the number 1 seed in the tournament. That is Groton Dunstable. So we'll see which team ends up emerging from this gymnasium here tonight. And for Milford, concluding their warm-ups out there on the court. As we mentioned, some injuries earlier on a couple of weeks ago, but everyone, by all accounts from the coaching staff, healthy and ready to go and ready to take on an opponent. Not a lot of familiarity between these two teams. In researching this game here tonight, the most recent matchup that we could find between Milford and Burncoat in girls basketball took us all the way back to January 23rd of 2009, a game that Milford was able to defeat Burncoat in Milford by a final score of 59-32. At the time, Milford junior point guard Andrea Suffredini ended up scoring a game-high 20 points. A key to the victory. Brian Mackey was the coach of that team back then, of course an assistant on the staff now, and he was very pleased with the effort of the team that night. It actually ended up being a very big win for Milford back in that 2009 season. It popped them over the 500 mark, and in a season that Milford finished right at 10-10, was barely able to sneak into the MIAA playoff tournament. It was a big win late in the season for the Lady Scarlet Hawks, so hoping for another big win against a Burncoat team here in these 2018 MIAA playoffs. So very excited to get this game underway. It is the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks here in Worcester, getting set to take on the Burncoat High School Lady Patriots. We will have all of the action for you, the starting fives and the game's opening tip when we come back next, so stay tuned to coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics right here on Milford TV. Fans of both of these teams excited to see playoff basketball about to begin here in the city of Worcester. Milford and Burncoat about to get playoff action underway. Before we get started, we'll bring you the starting fives for both teams. First for the visitors, which for tonight is the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks. It is Kate Irwin, Emily Pierre Gustavo, Jill Valenzola, Juliana Tracy, and Julie Rabinowitz. And for the Burncoat Lady Patriots, it is Janaris Rivera, Mare Gallagher, Katie Pasquale, Amari Pearson, and Julia Rindeau. Tim Coet here on the call, along with our stellar Milford TV crew, happy to bring you the opening round of the Division II Central MIAA playoffs for girls basketball. The 8-seeded Patriots, the 9-seeded Hawks, both teams out there and ready to get this game underway. And it looks like now the officials set to go. A 3-man officiating crew here in the playoffs. The ball in the air, and it ends up being controlled by the Lady Patriots, and now immediately Milford swarms defensively. And getting around the defense to get a shot away is Katie Pasquale. A miss, but Burncoat able to control the rebound, but then a pass to nowhere sails out of play. And now we'll see Milford control the basketball for the first time tonight. And the ball in the hands of the senior captain, Kate Irwin. And there are certainly plenty of players on this team with playoff experience. Much of this core had an opportunity to play in that playoff game a season ago in Marlborough, as now it's the Lady Hawks who turn it over. Now the ball in the hands of Mare Gallagher. She loses control thanks to the defense of Emily Pierre Gustavo. Now it's Irwin trying to take it all the way to the basket and gets the bounce around the rim for the first 2 points of this playoff action. Kate Irwin back to 100% after missing 2 games due to injury in the waning weeks of the regular season. No doubt a result of that hard impact on the Milford gym floor in that matchup against Mansfield, a game that Milford had seized control of close to halftime, but after Kate going down, that game ended up flipping in a hurry. After the ball went out of play, last touch by Milford, the possession resumes for Burncoat with now 10 seconds left on the shot clock. Milford's defense making Burncoat uncomfortable here in the early minutes. Now with 3 seconds to go, someone needing to put up a shot, and it rattles through, courtesy of Julia Rindeau, right at the shot clock buzzer. It's good defense from Milford, but Burncoat a little bit lucky on the shot. And so an early 2-2 score. Very loud in the gym as Emily Pierre-Gustavo hoists up a deep three, sends it off the side of the rim. And so here is Gallagher now drawing the cheers from the home crowd. Mare Gallagher, the top scorer on this Burncoat squad. Now it's Pasquale inside, off balance shot, no good. Ball deflects back out, controlled by Rabinowitz. She pushes the floor, has Irwin to her left, gets it back, a nice give and go, and Rabinowitz finishes. Julie Rabinowitz has come alive in these final weeks of the season. She ended up averaging 12 points per game in her last 5 games. As the ball ricochets out of play just in front of our broadcast setup. Into the hands of Gallagher, almost had her pocket picked by Irwin. Now again, it's Rindeau who has all 4 of the early points for the Lady Patriots. Here's Irwin kicking it into the corner for Rabinowitz. Her 3 is a little bit long. Valenzola keeps the possession alive with the rebound. Now under the basket in a fight for the basketball, and they will call for the jump ball. The possession arrow will keep the ball on the Milford side. There is the all-out effort under the basket that we're so used to from Jill Valenzola. Looked like she might have taken a shot to the face as she was in that scrum for the basketball, but none the worse for wear as she's able to put it in the hoop to give Milford the 6-4 lead. And good to see Milford's offense putting points on the board early. You think back to that playoff game against Marlborough a year ago, Milford was really caught out of sorts through the first quarter, getting outscored 20-4 in that first 8 minutes. It put Milford behind the 8 ball, and ultimately they were not able to overcome that deficit. But keeping it competitive here in the early minutes of the first quarter at Burncoat, 6-4. Milford with the narrow lead. The pass ends up out of play, looking for Rindeau, who's gotten the bulk of the shots so far. Milford slowing the tempo now just a bit as Pierre-Gustavo and Irwin take the ball beyond midcourt. Swing it into the corner. Again, looking for the 3 from Rabinowitz, trying to get her shot going. So the one change to the starting 5 we saw for the vast majority of the season. Rabinowitz out there as a starter. Jess Tomaso coming off the bench, and it looks like we will soon see the first appearance of Tomaso of the night as she makes her way over to the scorer's table. Pierre-Gustavo trying to jar that ball loose from Pasquale. Another shot from Rindeau, this time no good. Milford with the rebound. Pushed ahead to Irwin. Pierre-Gustavo wanting that pass outside. Instead, it ends up a tricky shot underneath the basket for Rabinowitz, who can't convert. Pasquale down the other way. It ends up out of play. Milford signaling they should have possession. The fans continuing to fill both sides of the bleachers, and we see a strong contingent from the boys basketball team out on the heading into the stands to support this girls team. Milford traveling well as they typically do. Irwin getting some contact there as she released the shot. It's a long 2. No foul, but Irwin with 4 points now in this first quarter as Milford opens up a 4-point lead with still 3:47 to play in the first quarter. Burncoat having some trouble with their passes here early on. We'll see the long-range shot tossed up by Gallagher. No good. Irwin flying all the way down into the near corner, trying to track down that ball. It went out of play. It will be Milford basketball. Under 3.5 minutes to go in the opening quarter of this first round playoff game. Dangerous pass, nearly picked off. Irwin recovers, ends up tossing up the three, no good. There's Juliana Tracy underneath the basket. Could not nail down the layup. And now Gallagher able to dribble her way around Valenzola and sets up an easy look for Amari Pearson. And that brings it back down to a 2-point game. Ball continues to fly in and out of play. Pierre Gustavo looping the pass back into Irwin, who then gets it right back into Emily's hands. Now down low for Valenzola, turns around and gets a friendly roll around the rim. Valenzola with a couple of buckets in this first quarter. Milford crosses into double digits, taking a 10-6 lead. Pearson releases the shot, no good. Rebound goes to Irwin. Irwin now up ahead quickly in transition. Sends the pass right to Jess Tomaso on the money. And Tomaso gets the bucket, and that will bring us to our first timeout of the quarter, stopping the clock with 2 minutes and 31 seconds to go. As both sides will talk things over. Coach Dolliver, no doubt, happy with the effort he's seeing here in the early minutes. And on the other side, the Burncoat Lady Patriots, coached by Paul Keenan, who just so happens to be a Milford High School alumni. Having a chance to chat a bit via email with Coach Keenan leading up to the matchup. A 1982 graduate of Milford High School, born and raised in the Milford area. A lot of family ties to the Milford community. Ended up, of course, playing basketball during his high school days. Had a couple of brothers who also played for various athletic teams. His older brother played football, of course, for the legendary Dennis Breen and John Dagny's. His brother part of the 1983 Super Bowl championship team, the undefeated team. And as a high school basketball player, Coach Keenan had an opportunity to play for Lou Piazza at the varsity level, also played for the legendary Steve Manguso as a JV player. So Coach Keenan intimately familiar with the Milford High School athletic tradition, as he was a part of it himself. Action resuming out of the timeout with less than 2.5 minutes to play in quarter number one. Up to a 12-6 Milford lead. As Pearson tries to get away from Rabinowitz, releases a shot, but it's no good. And Valenzola again cleaning up the boards. Down into the corner for Tomaso. Takes a couple of dribbles inside the perimeter, gets fouled. Just the first foul of the period. As we'll see some substitutions on both sides for Milford. Kate Lobiser checks in for the first time, giving Juliana Tracy the rest. And Lobiser will get a quick chance. Tries for the bank shot. Ends up rimming out, rebound cleaned up by Rindeau. Gallagher finds Pasquale, who immediately gets double teamed, and Irwin able to pick off the loose ball. Kate now picks up a head of steam, takes it to the basket, can't get enough elevation, but she will take the contact. So the second foul now on Burncoat. Last time a lot of these Milford players were here in Worcester. It was back this past spring for the Division I state championship game, just a short distance away over at Worcester State University. Kate Irwin, Jess Tomaso, Emily Pierre Gustavo. All part of that state championship game for softball, trying to bring that experience now onto the basketball court. Irwin ends up going 1 for 2 at the line. And now another missed shot on the Burncoat side, but Savon Pickett into the game, able to grab the rebound, setting up the look for Pasquale from long range. The foul going against the Lady Patriots. And that will give Milford the ball back with 1:19 to go in the quarter. Coach Dolliver very active on the sidelines, wanting to get a quick substitution in there. Trying to give Jill Valenzola a rest, who has been a real workhorse, especially late in the season. And right now, Milford really working up that foul count on the Burncoat side. That's 4 quick fouls within the last few minutes. Now with Tommaso at the line. Just clean with her first look. Up to 3 points now in the period. Trying to extend this Milford lead to 9 points. And she does. 2 perfect shots from the free throw line. As we are about to tick down to the final minute of play in the first quarter. Pass a little hot for Pasquale to handle, but she's able to recover. Now releases the shot over Lobiser, no good. Good positioning for Rindeau. She can't convert on the shot. Another chance now, this time for Pickett. And finally, about the 4th time is the charm for Burncoat. A lot of looks there underneath the rim. Now here's Lobiser. She can't get the shot to fall. Pierre Gustavo able to keep the possession alive for Milford, and she will take contact. And so Milford goes right back to the line. Their 3rd trip to the free throw line in these final 2 minutes of the first quarter. Emily getting on the score sheet now for the first time. Five players contributing to the point total for Milford here in the first quarter. Pierre Gustavo goes 1 for 2, 30 seconds left in the first quarter as Gallagher ends up getting fouled by Pierre Gustavo. That is just the first Milford foul. Actually, it doesn't look like they will call the foul. Perhaps the ball deflecting off the foot of Pierre Gustavo, going out of play. Now Kate Irwin nearly jarring that ball loose. Burncoat able to recover. Now Pasquale able to get a shot away, and that will fall. And Milford now with 5 seconds left. Irwin will release the shot offline. Had a little bit of time left to work with. Chose to release the deep 3, and that will bring the first quarter to a close. A good start to this one tonight for Milford as they're able to hold on to a 16-10 lead. So we talked about the defensive ability of both of these teams. Milford really making Burncoat's life miserable during those opening minutes, but able to collect a couple of late shots to pull it back within a 6-point game. So 16-10. We will pause very briefly, and we will have the start of quarter number 2 for you when we come back next as you enjoy coverage of Milford girls basketball in the MIAA playoffs right here on Milford TV. Second quarter now underway here in Worcester. Milford with a 16-10 lead over the Burncoat Lady Patriots. The Hockomock League Lady Scarlet Hawks against the Inter-High League Burncoat Lady Patriots. We mentioned Burncoat ended up as the 3rd place team in the Inter-High League. As we'll see free throws now out of Mare Gallagher, who was held completely scoreless in that first quarter. But despite finishing in 3rd, with Doherty finishing as the division winner, Burncoat ended up with the better seed. Burncoat as the 8th seed, Doherty the final team into the bracket as the number 14 seed out of the 14-team field here in D2 Central. Gallagher missing on the free throw. Burncoat able to haul in the rebound, but then sent the ball out of play over into the Milford bench. So Mare Gallagher, who, as we mentioned, came in with over 23 points per game, has been held completely silent so far. Pierre Gustavo's 3 is no good. They'll try from the other side of the floor with Irwin, and Kate misses. And now they'll call the foul as the two teams locked up for the rebound. The foul going against the Lady Hawks. Milford in the playoffs for the second consecutive season, making the tournament last year after a 4-year absence. And now consecutive appearances as they call for the foul, and that's going to go against Irwin. Shaking her head in disbelief, looks back to her coach. So you don't want to see the fouls on Irwin if you're a Milford fan, especially this early in the game. Still 7 minutes and change to go in the second quarter. Off balance three is no good. The shot taken by Janaris Rivera. Burncoat around the perimeter. Kate Irwin very vocal, trying to set the defense out there. Gallagher trying to get free, ended up forcing up the long-range shot. And now here's Irwin able to blow past Gallagher. The shot doesn't land, but Kate will head to the free throw line. Star player on star player, and Milford's Kate Irwin able to make Gallagher miss. And now a chance to add on to her point total from the free throw line. Kate with 5 points so far tonight. Milford shooting 5 of 7 from the line so far, with one more shot coming up for Kate. Substitution coming in for the Lady Patriots as the sophomore Maria Alejandro Tapia comes into the game. 6:37 to play in the half. Milford now with a 7-point lead. They've led by as many as 9 in this first half. And the ball up for grabs. Milford with the steal. Pierre Gustavo comes away with it cleanly. Milford creating a lot of turnovers in this first half. Tough pass into Valenzola. Now right back out to Irwin. And Milford still has not managed to have much luck with their outside shooting, but Jess Tomaso off the rebound, able to put it back for 2. And so once again, the lead is 9 for Milford. Burncoat has not yet led. A couple of brief ties early on as Gallagher's shot is blocked. Irwin now down to the floor. And the Milford bench loving the effort out of their senior captain as the timeout was awarded, keeping possession with the Lady Scarlet Hawks, stopping the clock with 5 minutes and 42 seconds left to go. We will take the timeout as well. A 19-10 lead for Milford over Burncoat as you enjoy coverage of round 1 of the MIAA playoffs right here on Milford TV. Milford with a 9-point lead and possession as we get deeper into this second quarter. Milford with the shot clock running out. They were able to get a quick release, but the shot does not land. Burncoat back up the floor with now less than 5.5 minutes to go until the break. Squall, good feed into the corner. Shot no good for Pearson. And another jump ball. Possession will go back to Milford as we will now see Tomaso quickly back on the floor for Milford. Julia Rindeau out there once again for Burncoat. No points so far in the second quarter for the Lady Patriots. Julia Rindeau continues to be the scoring leader for Burncoat with 4 points that came early on in the first quarter. It looks like the officiating crew trying to get things straightened out at the scorer's table. clear exactly the issue that they are trying to get straight. So while we have the opportunity, we'll take a look at some of the regular season stats for Milford. Taking a look at the points leaders through the regular season. Kate Irwin, once again, the top scorer for Milford in the regular season, ended up playing 18 of Milford's 20 games, scoring a total of 304 points. And of course, that included career point number 1,000 back on January the 25th against Norwood. Emily Pierre-Gustavo with another strong offensive season with 195 total points, playing in all 20 of Milford's games. Jess Tomaso with 148 points on the season. Jill Valenzola, 133 total points on the year. Julie Rabinowitz with 98 points, but as we mentioned, she really became an offensive force late in the year in that final 5-game stretch, averaging 12 points per game. So those are some of your top scorers on the Milford side as we see the steal from Gallagher all alone. She takes it to the basket and no problem getting the layup. That brings the cheer onto the home crowd as Gallagher finally gets on the score sheet. And now Burncoat with the pressure in the backcourt, but Janaris Rivera commits the foul. And that will put Milford into the bonus. Kate Irwin's second trip to the free throw line in the half. So far, shooting 2 for 5 from the line. And now here is Rabinowitz. She comes up with the loose ball, gets it ahead to Irwin. She finishes at the rim. So now 8 points in the half for Kate. Milford up to a 21-12 lead. Out of the far corner, Pasquale to Rindeau. Short on the shot. Irwin with the rebound, pulls away and is able to lay it in. Gallagher able to close in at the last second, but Irwin undeterred is able to get the bucket to push Milford into a double-digit lead. Now an 11-point advantage for Milford, 23-12. And so right now Burncoat struggling to keep pace with this Milford offense. The timeout called with 4 minutes and 11 seconds to go in the first half. A quick break in the action and more to come in this first round playoff matchup right after this here on Milford TV. The majority of the Milford boys basketball team, including the coaching staff, seated just behind the Milford bench, taking in, I should say, this girls playoff action. The boys will have their first game of the playoffs coming up a little later this week on Thursday in Medfield. We'll have coverage of that game as well. Burncoat not close on the shot. Here's Irwin again, flying up the court. Sends the pass to Tomaso. Her shot out of the corner, no good, but she takes contact. And she'll head to the line for 3 free throw attempts. Chance to pad this double-digit advantage. This has been a very different looking Milford team in this first round matchup tonight than what we saw a season ago. Coach Dolliver talking to him after last season, so happy that this team was able to get their first experience in the postseason. Certainly did not finish the way the team hoped it would last year with that loss to Marlborough. But after falling behind by a considerable margin through the first 3 quarters, I believe it was a 14-point deficit heading into the fourth quarter, into the final moments, but Milford was able to go on an incredible run to cut it down to a 2-possession game before time simply ran out on their comeback bid. But you could already see the team start to settle in even in that game, and they've come out tonight very confident in their ability to execute here in the postseason. And now up to a 26-12 lead after Tomaso sunk all 3 free throws. Out of the far corner now for Pasquale, tries to drive baseline. Her shot no good, but Tapia able to put it in. Just the second Burncoat bucket of the second quarter. Tomaso cross-court pass just barely gets into the hands of Irwin. She will release from the top of the key, no good. But Milford keeps the rebound, keeps the possession alive. Now here's Rabinowitz. And so the outside shooting continues to be absent from Milford's arsenal. Here's Gallagher now. She'll release a long three off the back of the rim. The rebound momentarily controlled by Tapia, but she couldn't hold on to it. Now here's Tomaso sneaking ahead of the defense, and no problem to convert on the other end of the floor. And all of a sudden, it's up to a 14-point Milford lead as Burncoat sends the ball out of play. And right now, the home team looking completely out of sorts. And Milford in full command as Kate splits a double team in the backcourt. She will drive all the way to the basket. Too easy for Kate. 12 points now in the half for Irwin with still 2 minutes to go until the half. And Gallagher able to give the home fans something to cheer about with a nifty move under the basket. Long pass finds Rabinowitz on the other side of the floor. She's in trouble, able to get a pass away to Valenzola. Jill just not enough elevation that time. Another three ball from Gallagher. So both teams trying to get their outside shooting going, but we have not seen a successful three-point shot on either side to this point in the half. And right on cue, Jess Tomaso breaks that trend. (33-16). Milford just keeps it rolling. Now Gallagher again, just trying to get something going for her team. They'll say that that ball was tipped on the way out by Milford, so it will be Burncoat instead who will inbound. Gallagher makes her way over to the end line with 1:13 to go until the half. All the way up to a 17-point lead now for the Lady Scarlet Hawks. And wide open on the floor. Amari Pearson decided to pass up the shot. And instead, another trip up the floor with no points to show for it for the Lady Patriots. Irwin trying to get herself away from Gallagher and ends up drawing the contact from Savone Pickett. Looked like she might have taken some contact after the fact. Irwin showing good sportsmanship, going over to check on Pickett after the play. It looks to be okay. Freshman Talia Horton checks into the game for the first time on the Burncoat side as Irwin prepares for more free throws. It's Irwin's fourth miss from the free throw line in this half, but Milford able to track down the basketball. With less than a minute to go, here's Valenzola. Can't get any love off the backboard, and now the foul stops the clock with an even 40 seconds left to go. Burncoat preparing to inbound. Quick substitution beforehand. Gallagher slowly crosses midcourt. Tomaso close behind now, leaves off for Irwin. It's Pasquale now, she loses the dribble. Jill Valenzola quickly closes in, forces the jump ball. This time the possession arrow pointing Burncoat's way. Just nothing has been easy for the Lady Patriots throughout this first half. Milford with constant pressure on the defensive side. Now Burncoat with 8 seconds left on the shot clock, 17 seconds left in the half, gets the ball back on the playing surface. into the hands of Gallagher, who's double teamed, gets around Irwin. Another off-balance three with the shot clock expiring, no good. Now here's Milford. Rabinowitz in a crowd will get fouled with 3.7 seconds left. Julie will head to the line. Opportunity to up this Milford lead all the way to 19. Clean trip to the free throw line for Rabinowitz, 35-16, final 3 seconds as Gallagher from half court sends it off the backboard, the shot no good, and that sends us into halftime with Milford in a commanding 35-16 lead. And if you're a fan of the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks, you couldn't have hoped for a better start to this opening round playoff game. Just utter dominance. Milford really able to heat it up offensively in that second quarter. And defensively, they were really able to clamp down as well, holding Burncoat to just 6 points in that second quarter. 16 points in all for the half, so very good numbers. Any way you slice it for this Milford team, they will head into the locker room and hope to just keep things going when they head back out for the third quarter. We will take a brief pause in the action. We will have that third quarter for you when we come back next. Again, you are enjoying coverage of Milford High School athletics in the 2018 MIAA playoffs right here on Milford TV. Back for second half action here from Burncoat High School in Worcester, Massachusetts. Tim Coed here on the call. A 35-16 lead for Milford. The number 9 seeded Lady Hawks taking on the number 8 seeded Burncoat Lady Patriots, but it has been the visitors with all of the momentum in this game to this point. For Milford, as Julie Rabinowitz quickly picks up where Milford left off in the first half with 3. Milford getting the bulk of their offense through the combination of Kate Irwin and Jess Tomaso. Through the first 2 quarters, it is Tomaso who actually is your scoring leader with 14 points, Kate with 12. But it's been a solid team effort and also very strong defensive performance that has allowed Milford to take now a 22-point lead. Expected to see competitive action with such a close matchup. 2 teams that were separated by just a single win in the regular season. Burncoat at 13-7, Milford at 12-8. The 8 seed versus the 9 seed, but it has been a lopsided affair to this point. Pierre Gustavo and Irwin go back and forth. Pierre Gustavo from 3, no good. Tracy with the rebound. Can't get the second chance effort to land. And eventually, it is Mayor Gallagher who settles it. Gallagher able to put in a couple of shots in that second quarter, but has just 4 points for a Burncoat team that managed just 16 in total through that first half. And you can feel now very quiet atmosphere here in the Burncoat gym. These home fans have not had a whole lot to cheer about since this game got underway. Here's Valenzola. Can't find an angle to the basket, sends it outside for Rabinowitz. She had a clean look from 3. No good this time. And now Pierre Gustavo from behind, able to jar the ball loose. But fortunately for Burncoat, Pasquale there to corral the loose ball. 5:56 still to go in this third quarter. Action just resuming here in the Burncoat gym. Again, very fortunate to be bringing you playoff coverage of Milford High School athletics from the road. Had great support from the staff here at Burncoat High School. Tremendous setup right here at center court. Juliana Tracy initially pulling down that rebound. Milford now finally able to take it up the floor. Coach Keenan on the Burncoat side remains very active. Actually, a couple of steps out onto the floor. Trying to find a way to breathe some new life into his team. Milford with the inbounds pass into Irwin. Defended by Gallagher, and Irwin gets fouled. And that fires up the Milford crowd all the more. And the cheers led by the members of the boys basketball team. Set up just across the way behind the Milford bench. Pass to the corner looking for Rabinowitz, ended up getting deflected out of play by Burncoat's Amari Pearson. There's Rabinowitz with her foot on the line, the shot no good. Burncoat with all 4 classes represented on their roster. With a couple of freshmen, Talia Horton and also Amaya Enlow. Here's another steal for the Lady Hawks. Kate Irwin, coast to coast, grabs her first points of the second half. And Milford now already with 40 points, with still 4:43 to play in the third quarter. Milford through the regular season averaging 48.4 points per game. Certainly on pace to top that. And Mare Gallagher, meanwhile, with the fist pump. After connecting on the 3, just her first outside shot landed of this game. The first 3 for Burncoat overall. Meanwhile, on the other side of the floor, Pierre Gustavo getting fouled. The last game of the regular season, Emily Pierre Gustavo really shined on senior night. She misses both free throws here. Pierre Gustavo with a career high in points and also a triple-double. Pierre Gustavo with 12 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists. An absolutely fabulous performance for the senior captain. Julia Rindeau getting herself back on the score sheet with the bank shot. And a couple of buckets strung together now for Burncoat. Just hoping they can chip away at this deficit. But Pierre Gustavo, after the free throw misses, able to convert on the three-pointer. Gallagher on the other end, high arcing 3, hits back iron. Now can't contain Irwin in the backcourt. Here's Pierre Gustavo again from 3, and the ball will deflect all the way out for Pierre Gustavo to collect her own rebound. Now Irwin dribbles in a couple of steps, and her shot no good. And the whistle stopping the clock with 3:17 to go. The Milford fans in attendance eating up every second of this game so far. It's been a fun one for the red and white clad fans. Gallagher can't get around Tracy. Now the double team jars the ball free. Good job by Rindeau for keeping the possession alive. Timeout called by Coach Keenan. That stops the clock with 3:01 to play in the third quarter, and more cheers now from the boys basketball team, having all sorts of fun. The boys had a very strong end, of course, to the conclusion of their regular season, winning their final 6 games, and that allowed the boys to climb all the way into the number 5 seed on the boys' side of the Division II Central bracket. That ended up earning them a bye through the first round, so they will have a matchup coming up on Thursday night on the road against Medfield. It's a 4 seed versus a 5 seed matchup. Of course, some recent history between Milford and Medfield, having a chance to compete against one another in the regular season last year, each team claiming victories. So that should be an exciting one on Thursday night from Medfield. We will have the action for you here on Milford TV, but in the meantime, still plenty of basketball left to be played here on the Burncoat floor. The lead currently at 22 points for the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks. Burncoat will inbound. A quick catch and shoot for Gallagher. That shot blocked on the way up. Gallagher flies in on the back end of the play, but can't convert on a shot. Now here's Tommaso. She gets the shot and a chance for the three-point play. Jess Tommaso now up to 16 points in the game, which continues to lead all scorers, and that's with Jess coming off the bench tonight. And there's just the first free throw miss for Tommaso in the game. She made her first 5 consecutive free throws. .242 to go in quarter number 3. It's Gallagher against Tommaso. That shot short from Simone Pickett. Kate Lobuser having some trouble underneath the basket. Pasquale able to fight for the ball back. Cannot convert it into points. Here's Irwin now, using a little bit of clock as she slowly dribbles up the floor. Here Gustavo, a bit of an up fake now across the floor for Irwin from 3. And clanking off the front of the rim. Kate still looking for her first three-point shot of the night. Substitution for Coach Dolliver as Jill Valenzola returns to the floor, replacing Tracy. Dolliver trying to cycle through his forwards to keep them all fresh. More good rebounding work for Milford. This time it's Tommaso. It's been a good team effort on the glass for the Lady Hawks. Here's Pierre Gustavo, offline for the 3. Pasquale ahead to Gallagher with less than 90 seconds to go in the third quarter. Here's Pasquale with the hook shot. It's her first bucket since the first quarter. Been a lower scoring period overall to this point. Lobuser in some trouble, able to get a pass away. Now back outside for Irwin from the corner. Jill Valenzola just too strong down low. Ends up getting it back outside for Pierre Gustavo, who misses from 3. And now 36 seconds to go in the third quarter. Milford maintaining a sizable advantage as Tommaso and Irwin tried for the trap against Gallagher. Burncoat survives, but now the shot blocked. Long pass ahead for Irwin. Trying to make a move around Pasquale. And Pasquale commits the foul. Momentarily stops the clock with 14.2 seconds to go. And Coach Keenan wants an opportunity to talk things over with his team. So again, with just 14 .2 seconds left in quarter number 3. We'll see the timeout. We will take the timeout as well. 45-23. Milford in front of Burncoat here on Milford TV. Milford set to inbound in the closing seconds of the third quarter. The ball deflects right to Jess Tomaso. Keeps her red-hot offensive night going. 3 seconds left to go. Gallagher trying to get a shot away. She's able to do it and nearly sinks the shot from about a third of the way up the floor, but that will conclude things here in period number 3, and that will allow Milford to carry a 47-23 advantage into the game's final period. So continuing to look good for the Lady Scarlet Hawks, right at their points per game average with still 8 minutes left to go. And once again, you can see the Scarlet Hawks boys basketball team enjoying every second of this game, having a little bit of fun before they get down to business a couple of nights from now. A few final words exchanged for these two teams. Just 7 points scored for Burncoat in that third quarter to Milford's 12. Milford will inbound to get this fourth quarter started. If you've joined us in progress on our live streaming coverage here tonight, Milford racing out to a 16-10 lead after the first quarter, and they've continued to grow that lead as the game has progressed. Here's Tomaso from the corner, no good. Valenzola with yet another rebound, gets it right back outside to Jess. Kate Irwin getting a rest as this fourth quarter gets started. Milford with Tomaso, Pierre Gustavo, and Rabinowitz out there along with Tracy and Valenzola. There's Gallagher with the release from 3. Inside the William Ferris Memorial Gymnasium here at Burncoat High School. Bringing you the action from Worcester. Yes. We don't see a considerable comeback effort from Burncoat here in this fourth quarter. Milford will play on in this tournament to face the number 1 seeded Groton Dunstable a little bit later on in the week, but still 6 minutes and 45 seconds to go in this fourth quarter. Valenzola kicking it back out. Now the ball in the hands of Tomaso. Can't land the shot this time. Rabinowitz taking a decent shot from behind as she went for the rebound. But no foul. Ball going out of play, and Burncoat will take over. A 24-point Milford lead. That lead has been upwards of 20 points for nearly this entire second half. The pass could not be handled by Rivera. Milford takes advantage. Here's Rabinowitz. Julie gets the layup. Now 9 points in the game for Rabinowitz. Gallagher on the other side trying to do a little bit too much, releasing the deep 3. Is not close. All night long you've felt Burncoat just searching for answers. They have not had the offensive firepower to keep up with Milford. is a different looking team than when Milford was in the playoffs a year ago. Not quite so reliant on the offensive production of Irwin, certainly a very big part of what they do, but they have also had some legitimate secondary scoring options, and all of those options have been at their disposal so far tonight. The huge night from Jess Tommaso. We've seen another strong offensive performance out of Julie Rabinowitz. Contributions by Emily Pierre-Gustavo, Jill Valenzola. Kate Irwin back to the free throw line where she has struggled tonight. Able to make that shot. Now 3 for 7 shooting free throws this evening. Able to go 2 for 2, pushing Milford up to 51 points on the night. The ball loose, picked up by Tracy. Right back up the floor for the Lady Hawks. Feels like they have broken the will of the Lady Patriots deep into this second half. Rabinowitz has the ball plucked away by Gallagher. And then the foul stops the clock with 4:57 to go. This has been a fast-moving game. The opening tip-off taking place just a little over an hour ago. And already now almost to the midway point in the fourth quarter. Pasquale finding her fellow captain, but the shot no good. Here Gallagher and Katie Pasquale, the two senior captains. Here's Valenzola, beautiful turnaround. No problem. Jill once again has shined in the paint, both offensively and defensively tonight. Irwin getting a hand on that pass from Rivera, but the possession continues for the Lady Patriots as Gallagher misses on the shot. Mare Gallagher relegated to just 7 points so far tonight, as we will cross under 4 minutes to play in the fourth. Here's Valenzola again. Back-to-back buckets for Jill. Shot offline all the way to the corner where Irwin tracks it down. And we'll see a timeout taken now by Milford head coach TJ Dolliver. As Milford's lead has ballooned all the way out to 32 points in the second half. It has been quite the statement for the Lady Scarlet Hawks so far tonight. They have 3 minutes and 35 seconds to put the finishing touches on a stellar night here in the Burncoat Gym. We will pause ever so briefly, and we'll be back with more fourth quarter action next here on Milford TV. Out of the timeout, Coach Dolliver now starting to go deeper into his bench, as we see both Grace Riccio and also Isabella Renault out on the floor. Kate Irwin back to the bench. She will likely be a spectator for the rest of this one. Renault and Riccio out there with Rabinowitz, Pierre-Gustavo, and Jill Valenzola. See if Coach Dolliver sends any more subs out there in the closing minutes. And right on cue, out comes Carly Ferreira to take the place of Valenzola. And a lot of cheers for Jill. Had a spectacular night, as did so many of these Lady Hawks. And an outstanding opportunity for Coach Dolliver to start to get some of his younger players just a little bit of playoff experience. And at this late stage of the year, you can't help but start to look towards the future. A lot of those younger players who have not seen much action on the floor this season as they've watched the 7 seniors shoulder the bulk of the load, but it will be those younger players who will inherit this team for years to come as the ball is loose, and a lot of hard contact as Ferreira and Gallagher both went down. And Gallagher slow to get up, favoring the knee, and that will force the injury timeout. The clock stopped at 2 minutes and 57 seconds to go. We will pause for the injury timeout here on Milford TV. It has been a very tough night for Burncoat High School, and unfortunately ending with injury on top of the lopsided scoreboard. The senior captain and star player, Mayor Gallagher, in what in all likelihood will be the final game of the year for Burncoat, having to be helped off the floor by the training staff. An injury looked to be to either the right knee or right ankle, as the three-pointer from the corner no good, as you can see out there now for Milford. A lot of youth on the floor. Coach Dolliver now going entirely to his bench for these final minutes. The starters all on the sidelines, doing incredible work here tonight as the ball gets deflected into the backcourt, into the hands of Isabella Renault. And Renault will get herself on the score sheet here in the postseason with a late bucket. The sophomore contributing, getting Milford's point total up to 60 points with 1:48 left to go. Another miss for Burncoat. And more good play from this bench unit for Milford. That time it was Jillian Mickelson who was able to contribute. Gets a lot of love from her teammates on the sidelines as we see another timeout called for. Burncoat has been held completely off the scoreboard here in the fourth quarter as they fall behind 62-23 now. So the outcome of this game is not in doubt. It has been very much in Milford's hands since the first quarter. A 16-10 lead after that first period of play, a 35-16 lead at the break, and it's just continued to grow from there. And with a minute 34 seconds left to go, we take a look back into the regular season for Milford. Their single season high was established back on January 25th. Of course, a memorable night for a few different reasons for Milford. Of course, that was Kate Irwin's 1,000-point night. And it was also a night where Milford set their single season point high in what was a 67-42 victory over Norwood. 6 points away from tying that mark. Katie Pasquale still on the floor, trying to break the scoreless streak in this fourth quarter for Burncoat. And she'll have a chance to do it now from the free throw line. And Pasquale able to make the second shot. Very quickly ticking down to the final minute of play in this first round game. Pass into Renault. Renault goes to the basket. And 4 points now in this fourth quarter for Isabella Renault. We now have just 52 seconds left to go. Miss off the free throw attempt. The ball kicks its way all the way back out to Rindeau. Now outside for Pasquale. Pasquale, excuse me, counted from three-point range. And then the quick timeout after the shot. So Pasquale chipping in just the first three-pointer for Burncoat in the night. It comes with just over 30 seconds left to go. So Pasquale now overall on the night up to 8 points, which leads all Burncoat scorers, of course. It has been a difficult night offensively for this Burncoat team all night long, trailing 63-27. So we mentioned the winner of this game will move on to take on the #1 seeded Groton Dunstable. That game will be played on March 2nd at 7 o'clock at North Middlesex. A lot of different sites for the different rounds of the tournament moving forward. That game will take place at North Middlesex. The semifinals will take place at Clark University, and then the finals of this D2 Central bracket will be played out at WPI. So a lot of that action taking place in and around the Worcester area. Milford, good passing here. Renault clears herself for another look offensively. That time no good. Under 20 seconds to go in the waning seconds of this first round playoff game. And Burncoat called for the travel. We'll see a couple of subs come out on the floor for these final 13 seconds for Burncoat. And Milford will inbound and dribble out the remaining time on this clock. Just an absolutely dominant performance by the Lady Scarlet Hawks tonight, offensively and defensively. And the bench out there to seal the deal on a 63-27 playoff victory for the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks. After losing in the first round a season ago to Marlborough, they come in here to Burncoat High School and they lead this one virtually wire to wire. They win it going away, again by a final score of 63-27. So Milford will play on to the next round of tournament play, where they will indeed take on the top-seeded Groton Dunstable, again in a game that will take place at North Middlesex coming up on March the 2nd, a 7 o'clock tip-off. So we'll have more information on that game as the week progresses. A quarterfinal matchup against the top-seeded Groton Dunstable, who received a bye through the first round. The top two seeds received byes, Groton Dunstable and Ashland. And so Milford with a tall task ahead of them as they will face the 18-2 Groton Dunstable, but in the meantime they will bask in the glow of a tremendous playoff victory, backed by an outstanding offensive performance by senior captain Kate Irwin, and also senior Jess Tomaso with a very strong offensive game as well. Terrific effort tonight up and down the roster for the Lady Scarlet Hawks, and a terrific effort from our Milford TV crew. On hand for the game tonight, our director Rob O'Keefe, and our camera operators Mike Sperling and John Giacomuzzi. And I am Tim Coet. That final score, one final time, 63-27. Milford blows out Burncoat here in the opening round of the D2 Central playoffs. This has been a presentation of Milford High School Athletics here on Milford TV. So long, everybody.